Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys my final team selection ahead of the game week 5 deadline. In this video, we're going to cover a lot. We're going to talk about some key questions. We're going to take a look at predicted goals, clean sheet odds. We'll take a look at some Defcon players. We'll also have a little look at what kind of teams we should be focusing over the sort of next 5-6 game weeks. And of course, I will show you guys what the current transfers is looking like for my team, but also what my final team selection is looking like as well. So I do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And as always, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. So let's just start off with some key questions for this coming game week. And the first one, I think, is one that's talked about quite a lot, and that is about wildcard. Should we be wildcarded now? Should we wait? I know game week 6 is quite a popular window for some people. Game week 7, for people like myself, is now the right time. I would say if you could prolong it a week, I would say definitely do that. Obviously, at the time we record this, it's currently Thursday morning, so we still have a few rounds of Champions League games left to go. And obviously, if injuries crop up, then maybe you may be forced into it. But I think on what this wild card, from game week 6 onwards, a lot of people are going to be wanting to be invested in Arsenal and Manchester City. So I would say if you can hold on, I would say just let this game go, because obviously Arsenal and City play against each other this week, and then their fixture runs take a little bit of a swing. Obviously Chelsea from game week 9, so there's probably a little bit more long-term planning you want to do. So I would try and wait as close to that sort of changing points in the season as you possibly could. But it is also team dependent. Obviously if your team has injuries, you have issues on your team, you're not happy with certain players, then of course there's no real problem with using it this week. But I would just say just try and let this Arsenal Man City game get out of the way first, as I think that is sort of those are the teams that we're going to be wanting to target. At least definitely 3 Arsenal. I think at least 2, if not 3, Manchester City as well. So yeah, for me, wildcard, if you can hold on to it, I would say wait till game week 6, 7, and onwards. If you can't, and you desperately need to use it, it is not the end of the world. But definitely, if you are using it this week, just set it up as if it's from next week. Just let this one be for this week, and then just make sure you've got the triple Arsenal, triple City in there for next week onwards. Okay, Chris Wood is another topic of conversation, which I've seen a lot of questions about him. So obviously Brentford did play in the cup midweek, and he did not start. It was Igor Thiago who actually got a brace. So I did say last week that I was already worried about Chris Wood's minutes. Before we even saw the game at the weekend against Arsenal, I don't think Chris Wood is Ange Postecoglou's type of striker. Now, of course, when he was playing against Arsenal, he did get pulled off on the 59th minute. I don't know if that was just game state, or maybe just, obviously he just had a long flight back from New Zealand. Obviously, he's playing Australia, so that could be part and parcel of it as well. But I am even more worried now after seeing Igor Thiago bag a brace, and Chris Wood wasn't even a part of the squad. So if you've got him, it is a little bit of a tricky one to get rid of before Burnley. But as we saw on the weekend, Burnley are a decent defensive side, and I think they will cause a lot of teams problems this year when they're at home. So it's a real tough one. I would say if you don't need to make that transfer, I would probably just leave Chris Wood there. If he plays, fantastic. If he doesn't, then after this week you move him out. But if you haven't got anything else to do and it is a luxury transfer, then yeah, I probably would be removing him even before Burnley at home, just because the uncertainty of his minutes are becoming a real issue now. This was something that we didn't have to really worry about last year as much, but now we saw him get taken off 59th minute in Arsenal. He didn't play in the League Cup, so yeah, for me it's just a complete avoid for Chris Wood. And finally, Alexander Isak. Is it time to get him now? I would still say it's a little bit early. Obviously, we saw him play. He started for Liverpool yesterday in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. Didn't really do much in the game. Liverpool winning 3-2 with a 90th minute goal again. Virgil van Dijk from a corner, but he didn't really do much. I think he's still just trying to build his way up to match fitness. I think if you've got Ekitike, myself included in this, I think he's fine for this week. After this game week, though, when you wildcard, I would definitely be moving Ekitike out. Would I be bringing Isak in? I think if you're wildcarding, I think there's definitely a chance. Me personally, if I had to take a guess, I think after the international break, I think it's after game week 7, he will be a mainstay in that Liverpool team. I think he would have enough time to build up match fitness, and I think he will be their starting number 9. So I think once he's there, I think definitely a fantastic option. But right now, I think minutes risk is still too high. He's still trying to get himself back up to fitness. So I probably would avoid for now. But if you are on wildcard, sort of game week 6, 7, I think there's definitely a viable option to bring him in. Okay, so this is a little bit of a new section that I wanted to try this week. So we're looking at just the short-term gains. Obviously, as I said, what people wildcarding. So we're going to take a look at some of the teams to target for the next 6 game weeks. So obviously, all graphics are provided by Rob TFPL. I will leave a link to his X down below in the description for that, because he provides for this section and the one after this. So big shout out to him and thank you to him for this. So we'll take a look on the attacking side first. It's kind of as you would expect. Man City top, predicting nearly 12 goals over the next 6 games, which means they're averaging 2 a game. Erling Haaland, of course, is going to be the main man for that. Liverpool up second. Obviously, Mo Salah is going to be a big talking point because I don't think a lot of people are going to want to own both him and Haaland, especially on wildcard. So it's kind of like you make a choice. And obviously, Haaland's got Burnley in game week 6. So I think a lot of people are naturally going to be swerving towards him. But Liverpool's numbers, as you can see here, are still good. I think the only difference is that Liverpool's goals are probably going to be spread around a lot more between the likes of Gakpo. I'm sure they'll be hoping Florian Wirtz starts to chip in on that. Isak when he goes up top, Ekatike. So I think there's a lot more spread there. But I definitely think owning a Liverpool attacker is still not bad. 2 might be a little bit overkill unless you're owning Mo Salah and someone else. But for the time being, I think you definitely want to be in there on 1 because as you can see, their goal threat is quite high. Arsenal again, 11 goals, just over. Victor Gyökeres is going to be that main man. He's not pretty on the eye 100%, but he is effective and he gets himself into the right position. So yeah, for me, I think on wildcard again, I already own Gyökeres, but I think a lot of people, you'll see him being brought in on wildcard. Chelsea up there again. Now, this is where things get a bit tricky because obviously Cole Palmer is back now. Scored against Brentford off the bench, scored against Bayern Munich. Are we getting back to the old Cole Palmer? Potentially. If we do, then I think he will be, definitely a player that we'd all be wanting to own, especially from game week 9 onwards. Chelsea's fixtures are fantastic. The big question is, how do you afford that if you've gone for Isak, Gyökeres and Haaland in the front line? So that is where, if you are on wildcard, you think very carefully about kind of what you want going forward. And this is why I said maybe Isak right now is not that pick. That money used on Isak could be the same money used on Cole Palmer. So yeah, I think, obviously Chelsea are going to prove that they're going to be up there in terms of goals scored. So yeah, Cole Palmer for me, definitely a consideration. Maybe João Pedro as well. Him, obviously, there's not really much competition for minutes at the moment, so he should be fine for that. But I think long term, maybe not the right pick once the likes of Delap come back. I don't know how much minutes he'd actually be getting. So yeah, I think he's Chelsea's number 9 starter 100% for the next few weeks. We'll reassess after the international break and see, what Liam Delap's injury is looking like and seeing where Chelsea are at. But I think for the time being, João Pedro is just a fine hold. And last up, Tottenham, just a little bit lower than everyone else. 9.3 goals expected over the next 6. Obviously, Kudus, Xavi Simons are the 2 I'll be looking at. The striker, I just don't think you can go there. There's just too many risks with him. If it's either Richarlison one game, Solanke another, I just don't think you can guarantee it. Whereas Kudus offers you 90 minutes. I think Xavi Simons will get to the stage of getting more minutes. I think obviously last week was his first just debut and he got assists from a corner. And that is the one thing he is on set pieces as Kudus is on from the other side. So yeah, that is the overall, the best sort of top 5 teams over the next 6 game weeks for attack. Let's take a look at the defense now. No surprise who is first. It is, of course, Arsenal. And I think that's mostly my reason why I want a wildcard. I want a double Arsenal defense straight in there. Out of the 6 games that they've got coming up, 4 of them, they've got a 40% chance of a clean sheet, which is just fantastic. So yeah, if you're looking at Arsenal, I think a double Arsenal defense, dare I say a triple Arsenal defense. My big thing about the triple Arsenal defense is about Victor Gyökeres. So I think if Victor Gyökeres becomes a striker where Arsenal are only scoring 1 or 2 goals and the Arsenal defense keep the clean sheet, they're going to be pushing Gyökeres for bonus points. I don't think 1 goal is enough for Gyökeres to get bonus points, which means he's going to be a 6-point striker. He'd be a 6-point or a 2-point if he doesn't return. Now, I think for the price you're paying, if you downgrade to João Pedro, I think you've got a lot more upside there. So I think Gyökeres and Arsenal defense depend on how many goals he scores. Now, if he gets a brace, Gyökeres, then of course his bonus points are going to jump straight up. And I think the triple Arsenal defense is probably not the move to go. But if you are looking for differentials and you are looking to do something different, maybe you just don't trust, Gyökeres putting the balls in the back of the net as much as maybe a lot of people think. I also think that his minutes could be a potential risk as well. He seems to be getting sub sort of 65th, 70, which if he does the damage before then, it's not too bad, but it's just sometimes it's a little bit iffy, when you've got that type of striker up front, you kind of want him to play through the 90 minutes. So yeah, I think on the defensive side, I think Arsenal are fine. There's 100% an argument to go for a triple up. David Raya, Gabriel, maybe a Timber or Gabriel and Saliba. But yeah, I think Arsenal just clear head and way. 2 and 3 are Manchester City and Liverpool. I think, again, both of them have got decent fixtures. Man City, Donnarumma is somebody that I am personally looking at. I think at 5.5, I think he's going to be a great addition for City. And I do think he will be a big reason as to why they keep a lot more clean sheets this season. The defense, maybe when Aït-Nouri's back, obviously we saw Gabardio's back now and he's playing centre half. So yeah, I think Diaz and Gabardio will probably stay there. And I think Aït-Nouri will just slot straight back in there. So I think maybe when he's back after the international break, that could definitely be one to watch. Liverpool, I think it's just Van Dijk for me. I think Konate, if you're looking to save money, yes. Frimpong and Kirkes are just too much rotation risks. Obviously, Frimpong and Bradley are both fit. Robertson and Kirkes are both fit. It's just too much of a headache. They're going to get the early pre-60 subs as well. So for me, I was just a complete stay away. I think, from Liverpool, it's Van Dijk or nothing really with them. Chelsea up next, of course, like I said, from game week 9, Cucurella is somebody that will 100% be in my team. Robert Sanchez, I'm not too keen on at the moment. I saw comments from Maresca saying about, that he may be rotated in league games. So for me, it's just a little bit of a stay away for now. But Cucurella definitely is a great shout from Chelsea. And Newcastle, the 5th team up on this. I don't know when Newcastle's fixtures actually swing for the good, but I think the likes of Livramento and Dan are pretty much nailed. Obviously, there could be rotation. Obviously, they've got Trippier, Hall, Fabian Schär, but they've got a lot of different options there. But I think, Livramento and Dan Burn seem to be kind of like favoured in Eddie Howe's eyes. So I think if you're going for a Newcastle defence, I definitely think them at around the 5 million price point is great value for money. Right, so let's take a look at the projected goals and clean sheet odds for this coming game week. Liverpool, unsurprisingly, are first. They are at home to Everton in the Merseyside derby. I think it will be a difficult game, but as I said in my previous transfer targets video on Monday, I don't think Everton have really been defending that well. And Liverpool at Anfield, you'd always kind of back there. So I think if you've got Liverpool assets, keep them. Florian Wirtz is a difficult one. So he is projected to go down tomorrow in price, or today as me recording this, which is Thursday night. So I have actually made my early transfer, spoiler alert. I have got rid of Florian Wirtz for two reasons. One, because I just can't afford to take another price drop on him. But two, even on a wild card, he's not going to be in my team. So I think if you're not someone who's bothered about the price drops, I think he's a fine hold for this week. Everton is a decent fixture, and they are at home. So yeah, they are predicted obviously 2 goals scored in this game. So yeah, if you've got him and you're not worried about the price, I would say just keep a hold of him. But I do think there's also a viable option to get rid as well. Surprisingly, Arsenal are up next with 1.65, and I think this is because they are at the Emirates. Obviously, last year they scored 5 against Manchester City, so Arsenal know how to do it essentially. I think this one will be a little bit more of a cagey game. I think Arsenal will probably obviously be looking to lock down Erling Haaland going forward. Obviously, at the Emirates, they are usually on the front foot, regardless of whichever team they're playing. It's usually when they go away from him that they kind of sit back a little bit deeper and sort of block up the shock. So, yeah, I mean, it could happen. I think if you've got Victor Gyökeres, he's definitely a hold this week. Man City's defence isn't amazing, but obviously now that they've signed Donnarumma, it does push them up a little bit. But Arsenal, second on this list. Chelsea at number 3. If you've still got Cole Palmer, João Pedro, I think you're fine just to keep a hold of them, to be honest with you, till after game week 13 and 14 when their fixtures change again. So, yeah, I think they are just long-term holds. And obviously for game weeks like this, if Chelsea are going to score, usually it's going to be between one of those two who are doing the work. And onto the clean sheet odds, Liverpool are top of that list with 39% this week. Like I said, if you've got Virgil van Dijk, I think Van Dijk's one of those players you could just hold for the season. I think you could just put him in there and leave him because he's going to get games where he gets clean sheets. He'll get games where he gets Defcons. He'll get the odd goal here and there, maybe the odd assist as well. So, yeah, I think Van Dijk for me is just absolutely fine. Anywhere else in the Liverpool defence, like I said, Konate, if you want to go a little bit cheaper, yes. But the fullbacks, I would completely stay away from. Surprisingly, Aston Villa are up here at 36%. Now, I'm not too sure about this one. I don't like the way Aston Villa have been playing at all. I know they kept a clean sheet on the weekend, but for me, I can't get down with it. They should have conceded. I don't know how Everton didn't score against them on the weekend. So I'm not on this one. I think if you're looking to go for a 1-week punt, you're looking to just bring in a defender, I would completely stay away from Aston Villa. I know that they are second on this list for clean sheet expected, but for me, it's a no-go on them. Fulham up next. Obviously, Joachim Andersen come back with a massive 10-pointer last week. I think across Fulham's defence, he's probably the only one. Maybe you could look at Anthony Robertson, but I don't really think that there's too much to talk about on this one. I think Joachim Andersen at 4.5. I think he might be 4.6 now. Defcons. Fulham are a decent side defensively as well, so he's fine. And of course, Arsenal, again, on there, 31%. A little bit lower than they usually are, but I think just because of how good they are defensively, they are at home. They are actually going to be there. If you've got the Gabriels of the world, David Raya, Calafiori, whichever one you own, you just play them. I think, again, it's the same as Van Dijk. You just literally put them in your team and leave them all year, and they will be absolutely fine. So, okay, so that is the projected goals and clean sheet odds for this week. We're going to jump into some Defcon stats now and take a look at kind of the players that we should or maybe be targeting for, the upcoming game weeks. Okay, so far, these are the players that have scored, very well in Defcon throughout the season. I just want to give a shout out to Tom Hadley on FPL Twitter. He is the one who's provided this graphic for this. So I will leave a link to his X in the description down below. So go check him out and give him a follow because he does make these every single week. So Senesi is top of the list. He's got Defcons in every single game he's played. And to be honest with you, I can see him getting them for most of this season. Bournemouth are one of those teams that they will attack well, but also that you will get chances against them, but they will keep your clean sheet as well. So yeah, Senesi for me, he's obviously ranked at number 1, 4.6 million. I think he's a fantastic option. Bournemouth got decent fixtures coming up as well. They're not bad. They're not great. They're somewhere in between, which obviously for a defender who's going for Defcon is probably what you want, to be honest with you. So he is number 1 on this list. I'm going to show you guys the whole list, but I'm not going to go through every player. I'll just pick out certain ones who I think could be worth note. Van Dijk, we've already touched on briefly. He's got Defcon so far in 50% of his games, and bear in mind, one of those was Arsenal. So yeah, he's looking fine. He's averaging about 12.5 a game. Liverpool will keep clean sheets throughout the season. Like I said in the previous section, he will obviously chip up with an odd goal here and there, and he will get Defcons. I think he's just, if you're looking for someone just to put in your team and just leave for the season, not worry about him, Van Dijk, Gabriel, these are the type of players you just put in, leave them to do their thing, and they'll be absolutely fine. Maxence Lacroix is another one that I want to talk about. He's obviously hit Defcon in 50% of those games. Probably should be a little bit higher because there was one game that he did get it, but obviously the game we could close, so they couldn't update the points. Crystal Palace yet to concede a goal. Once again, it's just fantastic defense from them. 4 from 4 clean sheets. Lacroix, you know, he's definitely good for Defcons. We all know that, but he's also good for attacking returns as well. So those are kind of like my top three that I'd be picking off this. As you can see, there's a list of 10 players here. So you've got options there. You've got, you know, Sepp van den Berg from Brentford. You've got, of course, Tarkowski from Everton. You've got Mudieke from Sunderland, who seems to be going a little bit under the radar as well. So there are other alternatives here, but for me, those top three there, Senesi, Van Dijk, and Lacroix would be the three that I'd be targeting from this list. I think they're just players that you could just leave in your team, long-term holding, you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so let's take a look at what my final team selection is looking like. And I have made an early transfer. Like I said, in my opinion, I always say it's best to try and leave it as long as you can, unless you're going to be priced out of a move. And Florian Wirtz is predicted to drop tonight, being at the time we record this, it's Thursday. So I have moved him out for Semenyo. Semenyo would have come in next week on my wildcard anyway. But when I'm looking at Bournemouth's fixtures, I think Semenyo is genuinely a fine hold till game week 13, 14. So he's someone that I can just leave in there and not even worry about him. And I see a lot of people talking about, you know, is it still optimal to get him? Obviously, he had a big return last week. He's done well so far. But you have to take each game as it comes in isolation. Doesn't mean that if he hasn't scored in the previous 4 or 5, doesn't mean he's not going to do it today. Vice versa, just because he scored the previous 4 games or previous 3, however many it's been, it doesn't mean that he's also not going to score in this game. So I think you take the player based on what they are, how important they are to their team. Obviously, we've seen that he's on penalties now for Bournemouth. So for me, that's just added to his appeal. So yeah, I have made my 1 free transfer this week. I have moved Florian Wirtz out. It was just time. I wanted to hold him for this game week, but when I saw he was going to hit a drop tonight, I couldn't afford to take the hit. So yep, I have made my 1 free transfer a little bit early this week. I've gone Florian Wirtz to Antoine Semenyo. This is what my team is looking like for game week 5. Robert Sanchez in goal against Man United. I'm not going to ever waste a transfer to take him out until we get to wildcard. So he's absolutely fine. Man United haven't been playing that well anyway. So yeah, we're happy with Robert Sanchez in goal. The defence, we've got Jed Spence, we've got Joachim Andersen, we've got Munoz, and Joe Rodon is the man who I brought in for Tijani Reinders. So we're going to talk about that one first. Tijani Reinders is away at Arsenal. Rodon's away at Wolves. Now, Reinders is a fantastic player. There's no doubt about it. And he could get chances in this Arsenal game, 100%. I just think Arsenal are the best defence in the league by a long way. And I think I would rather back Leeds, who actually have surprised me at how good they've been defensively this year, against the Wolves side, who haven't really been scoring goals. Without Strand Larsen, they don't really look like they've got much going on there. So I can see that one being a sort of 0-0 draw. So I'm taking a little bit of a gamble this week, but I am going to start Rodon over Tijani Reinders. Joachim Andersen goes without saying, obviously Defcon monster. Fulham decent defensively as well. Munoz again, same thing, very attacking. Probably should have had an assist last week. If Mateta if he just scuffed his header, he headed it too well where it was straight to keep it. If he just scuffed it, it would go into the corner, which means Munoz would have had an assist, probably would end up in bonus points. That's gone from a 5-pointer to like a 10, 11-pointer. So yeah, Munoz is fine. So we're going with a back 4 this week, which is, you know, all of them have got their upside this week. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can see some returns from them. Then we come into the midfield, Enzo Fernandez, Cody Gakpo, and our new signing, Antoine Semenyo. Now, currently, my captaincy is on Cody Gakpo. I don't know whether I'm brave enough to do it come the deadline. When we look at my forward line, obviously I've got Gyökeres and Haaland who are playing against each other now. Both of them could score in this game, no doubt about it. I wouldn't be surprised if either of them scored. I just don't know which way to go on it, so I'm not going to. And obviously, Ekitike up front, I think he will start, but I definitely think he's going to come off before the 60th minute. I think Isak will come on, get some more minutes under his belt, so I don't want that. Gakpo, I think, has got more of a chance of playing through the 90 minutes. It is a tough one because obviously, you know, you're going for a player who statistically on paper is going to be very low captained, but obviously for good reason, because the people who've got Salah, some people are going to go for Cole Palmer against, you know, it's a tricky one for me this week. But I think right now Cody Gakpo on paper is looking like my best option. So yeah, I might leave that one to a sort of very late, early Saturday morning deadline. But for the time being, this is what my team is looking like. Obviously, 1 transfer made, Wirtz out, Semenyo in, and Cody Gakpo is currently my captain for this game week. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I know this one has been a bit of a longer video. Thank you so much if you have stayed all the way. I really do appreciate it. So that is it. That is going to be my last video for this week for Game Week 5. I hope you guys have a great game week. If you've got any questions about my team, if you've got any questions about your team, anything at all, feel free to drop it in the comments down below and I will get back to you. Or alternatively, if you want to see my team before the deadline goes, just in case I make any changes, you know, if I change my captaincy mind, feel free to follow me on X. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. But as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.